Well, this is Linda Lee from Hong Kong, City University of Hong Kong. We are very pleased to welcome our distinguished guests and all of our distinguished participants to our 5th workshop under the past workshop series, professional training workshop series. Well, very briefly, this professional training workshop series, it's organized by the Research Center for Sustainable Hong Kong of City University of Hong Kong since early 2021, together with the support and collaboration of major professional services bodies and chambers of commerce in Hong Kong, as well as supporting organizations from our overseas jurisdictions, which we covered in these workshops. We have organized a total, including today, 5 workshops and 1 opening symposium. After today, we are expecting to organize the 6th workshop on Myanmar, which will happen on the 16th of December, which means less than 2 months' time. Okay, I really look forward to today and the December workshop. And after that, we would organize a closing forum in 4 months' time, which is in March 2022. So in the closing symposium, we expect to welcome all of you back here again, together with our distinguished speakers and guests from the other, all the other workshops, to join us to reflect on what we have learned and what can transpire out of the discussion. So I really look forward to our vigorous discussion and insightful sharing by our 7 distinguished speakers, plus 2 very experienced discussants. They are very intelligent and very well experienced on the ground. They come from, some of them are based in Hong Kong. That's why we have those based on Hong Kong are here with us on the campus venue. But some of them are overseas, now based in Belarus, and well, they're with responsibilities on Djibouti as well. Our first distinguished speakers, Dr. Vasily Tusky, who is the director of the Institute of Economics at the National Academy of Sciences at Belarus.
How do you do, dear colleagues? First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of the workshop, personally, dear Professor Linda Lee, for the opportunity given me take part in the event on such an actual topic. The topic of my report is scientific and technological cooperation between China and Belarus. In modern conditions of globalization and the rapid development of international economic integration, despite the instability of the world economic conjuncture, the People's Republic of China remains a reliable partner of Belarus. Trade and economic cooperation with the People's Republic of China today has developed to the level of comprehensive strategic partnership. An important role in the development of the Belarusian Chinese scientific, technical, and innovative cooperation is played by the global initiative Belt and Road, put forward by the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, in 2013. The main task of the initiative is the formation and practical implementation of a new advanced model of international relations in various areas of cooperation based on bilateral and multilateral agreements of regional character with the participation of the China. Already at the first stage of its formation as a sovereign stage, Belarus set the task of creation conditions for the transition to innovate development of the national economy, and therefore one of the first of only supported the Belt and Road initiative, but also took an active part in the implementation of a number of projects in the scientific and economic direction. The main direction of the socio-economic development of Belarus for 2021-2025 developed by the government and improved by the President of Belarus, Alexander Grigorievich Lukashenko. The most important task of regional policy in the nearest future is to support growth points in the form of industrial centers, areas with highly efficient agriculture, free economic zone, science and technology park, innovation centers, technology transfer centers, venture organization. Scientific, technical, and innovative cooperation between Belarus and China is progressively developing. The treaty-based and effective mechanism for coordination joint activities in the form of a Commission of Scientific and Technical Cooperation within the Belarusian Chinese Intergovernmental Committee is cooperation have been formed. The strategically important and most ambitious project of bilateral cooperation between Belarus and China within the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative is the Greenstone Chinese-Belarusian Industrial Park. The idea of creation Chinese-Belarusian Industrial Park in Belarus belongs to the heads of the two states, Alexander Grigorievich Lukashenko and Xi Jinping. The heads of our states then opened a new page in the history of the project by the personally signing the park development plan. Since the creation of the park, more than $600 million have been invested. Currently, 79 residents from 16 countries are registered in the park. 40 of them are Chinese companies. With the active support of Belarus and China, the park has become the largest and exemplary project in our region. The engineering and transport infrastructure on the territory of the first stage of development is actively being operated. The second stage is being designed. The priorities for the park from the point of view of cooperation between Belarus and China are mechanical engineering, chemistry, new materials, and artificial intelligence. The start of implementation of the project of the international logistic terminal Eurasian Railway Gateway with the participation of Chinese, German, Belarusian, and Swiss companies, which should provide of direct and accelerated exit of transported goods along the China-Europe-China route. Medium-term plan includes the creation of regional multimodal logistic hub with the construction of a narrow gauge railway from the park to the border with Poland to reduce travel time along this road and further increase cargo traffic. In the 2020, the Greenstone park officially made the transition from the country's phase to construction phase to the high quality development phase. On June the 11th, 2021, President of Belarus Alexander Grigorievich Lukashenko signed decree number 215, which improves legal regulation in order to improve the investment climate in the Greenstone Park. They develop the Chinese Belarusian investment and innovation cooperation and innovation center for the commercialization of scientific and technical developments has been created in the park, which is a platform for preparing startup projects, which houses laboratories and experimental production centers, test centers, and centers of the intermediate research for small-scale production. Participation of the ISKRA program, which has specially created to develop innovative activities in the park, also offer financial and consulting support to startups at the centers. Thus, the Greenstone Park gets the status of the international platform along the Belt and Road Initiative, covering production, financing, research activities, training, which will help attract investment to the Republic of Belarus. Among the proposal for increasing the efficiency of the Belarusian Chinese scientific, technical, and innovative cooperation are organization and implementation of joint scientific research with the Chinese side on the systematic basis, development and implementation of joint scientific and technological projects and innovative program in economics, finance, information technologies, creating of joint specialized scientific laboratories from universities, holding joint scientific and organization event, organization of mutual internship for employees in Belarusian Chinese scientific centers, organization of joint mutual scientific publication. The seminar is the best suited for constructive dialogue between representatives of science, education, high-tech business for the search and solution of issues of development of scientific, technical, and innovative policies of countries. The Institute of Economics of the National Academy of Science of Belarus is the leading scientific and analytic center of Belarus in the field of economic relations. The main activity of the Institute is to conduct fundamental and applied research of economic issues. The Institute of Economics is the leading organization of the task of the state program of scientific research, society, and humanitarian security of the Belarus stage for 1991, 2029, 2025 sub-program economics. The Institute of Economics participated in the development of the most important strategic documents that determine the further development of the Belarusian economy and society. The Institute of Economics is actively working at the international level, carries out scientific cooperation with 45 foreign organizations of science and education from Russia, China, Ukraine, Moldova, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and others. The institute is a member of the Association Eurasian Economic Club of Scientists, maintains close scientific ties with think tank, universities, research and diplomatic organization of China, and has the status of the only Belarusian co-founder and full members of the digital platform of the Economic Information Service of the Belt and Road Initiative. Belarus attaches great importance to relation with Hong Kong. I hope to develop our effective cooperation in the future. Thank you for attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hursky. Perfect timing, perfect timing. Now we got 5 minutes for short Q&A. Well, I'm very happy to hear that your government has authorized the decision to open a consulate general in Hong Kong, right? So that actually was early this month, right? That decision was made. Very good, okay, because in the future, we don't need to fly to Beijing to get a visa to your country. We can get it done in Hong Kong.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, my question is, what kind of input, okay, what kind of activity or investment or ideas, okay, that Belarus, okay, and from your point of view, from a prestigious, okay, institute and counseling the government on policies that Hong Kong can offer to Belarus. So what kind of input? What kind of investment? What kind of what can we do? Okay, what do you want most from Hong Kong?
There are much branches for investment in Belarus from China and Institute of Economic. We don't investment, but we conduct fundamental and applied research for economic issues, and we hope for cooperation in future.
So so in other words, because Chinese investment in Belarus is increasing, you think Hong Kong services or Hong Kong perspective can help Belarus to make better use of Chinese investment? Is it what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so what kind? How can Hong Kong help then? How can Hong Kong help with investment of mainland China in Belarus?
Consulting, business planning, and other.
So sorry. For instance, because a lot of people talking about legal services from Hong Kong or financial services from Hong Kong or project consultancies, okay, those kinds of expertise, or even communication, right? You know, and my discipline is public policy, okay, how we communicate with different walks of life, okay, and translate concerns into real life policies. So I'm just giving some examples, you know, from my head. Well, because our participants would appreciate some clues from you, right? We have almost 200 participants here, and most of them are from Hong Kong. Obviously, they're interested in Belarus as well as Djibouti when as they enroll in this workshop, right? but a lot of them may be curious and may not have a very good idea how we can, from Hong Kong, can participate in Belarus, partly because we don't know enough of what you need, right? And what we can offer. So please, okay, help us, okay, provide some more tips, okay, from your point of view.
Thank you.
Thank you. So please, okay, come back to us, okay, after you have more ideas, and we are welcome to try, relay your messages to our participants. Okay, let's come back to our speaker from Hong Kong. This is Mr. Louis Chen from Hong Kong Trade Development Council. Mr. Chen is the principal economist at global research, in charge of global research team at the TDC. So, well, he's the expert, okay? He's the expert on Belarus and Central Europe, the region. So I look forward to, his sharing with us TDC's insights on Belarus and relate neighboring countries as well. Louis?
Okay, thank you, Professor Lee. Thank you very much for your invitation, and I'm happy to be here today to share some insights regarding our research on the Belarusian market. But first thing first, I think there is no one here in the room, okay, could be a better expert than Mr. Professor or Dr. Husky. So it would be a very difficult task for me to talk about Belarus after the Belarusian expert. But anyway, I will try my best. In the coming 10-20 minutes, I will try to give some try to share something about our research funding on the markets. So my topic is Belarus is an important BRI, Belt and Road partner. So if we take a look at the geographic location of the small country, which is very strategically situated among a very important Belt and Road partners, including the Russian Federation and also Poland. So the country is not very sizable in terms of population. It has less than 10 million people, but it has a very encouraging economic performance over the past 25 years. The country experienced only 3 years of GDP decline, and I think the most latest one is having much to do with the COVID-19 pandemic. And the country is very export-oriented, exporting more than 60% of its production, and it has a rather stable political system with only one president since the establishment of the republic, and is also a member of the 180 million plus strong Euro-Asian Economic Union, which consists of Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Armenia, and also Tajikistan. So if we take a look at the Belarusian economy, the country is not particularly rich in natural resources compared to Kazakhstan and the Russian Federation, but it has a very strong industrial base since Soviet time. So if we take a look at the manufacturing share, the share of the manufacturing sector in the country's industrial production value, then it accounts for lion's shares. So the main industries include metallurgical and also various branches of engineering, as well as other chemical-related industries. And they also have a very strong agricultural sector, from the food to the machineries and other very related tools and equipment. And in recent years, the country is also paying a lot of effort on its IT-related and service-related economy. This is a snapshot of the country's manufacturing industry structure. This also serves as a very strong magnet for international investment and foreign manufacturers, okay, who are considering production or manufacturing relocation. And this is the membership of European Union. This is also a bridge between a gateway to Europe and Asia. It consists of 5 major countries in the region, and which allows tariff-free access to each other, subject to different rules of origins. So this is a picture I took myself a few years back, okay, at the border of Poland and Belarus in the city called Brest. This is one of the most busy checkpoints, okay, between CIS, the CIS and the European Union. So every day there are many trucks going through this checkpoint, okay, to carry goods, okay, to and from EU. And the country has done, including the government, have done a lot of effort to enhance the country's attractiveness in different arenas. The country has a very nice scoreboard for investment attraction. So from e-government development index to innovation index, human development, and doing business, the ease of doing business, the country ranked high among its peers in the region. And the country, as Professor Lee just mentioned in her opening, the country is about to open its Consul General here in Hong Kong. And so far as I understand, this is going to be done by before the end of the year. So it's really good news, despite the fact that we can, I'm talking about the Hong Kong SAR passport holders can enjoy visa-free stay up to 40 days to Belarus since a few years ago. And there are pretty wide array of sectors that Hong Kong companies, mainland companies can look for in the Belarusian market, but the government has set aside a few priority sectors, okay, for investment, targeting mainly export-oriented, import substituting, and high-tech industries. And to facilitate these foreign investment and the country's economic dynamics, there are few leading investment vehicles, including 6 free trade zones across the country in the 6 major regions, okay, across the country. They are all boosting at least 1 million people. And also there is a very famous high-tech park, which attract a lot of international investment and have breed a lot of startups, which have a very famous and successful project across the world. And last but not least, the Greenstone Industrial Park that I think my other speakers here in the room, okay, will talk about this further. So I'm going to make it brief here in my presentation. Now, this is basically the map of the 6 free trade zones, and they have a very generous, they offer very generous fiscal incentives for investors, and is mainly, okay, catering to companies for the production of export-oriented and import substituting products. And after all those foreign investment and the local strength since many years, Belarus has quite a wide web of traditional industrial successes. If you go to the Heathrow 5th terminal in London, that the glass wall was produced by a Belarusian company. And if you you go to the international fertilizer market, then you can easily find the name of Belarusian regarding a potash, which is a very important ingredient or element of the international fertilizer market. And when you go to an international machinery and a vehicle, industrial vehicle fair, you will definitely see the name of Belarus, because they are famous for dump truck and tractors for many different industrial uses. And for the high-tech park, we also see the country has been putting a lot of effort to boost its IT readiness. And actually, nowadays, IT companies account for almost 50% of the country's GDP growth. So the president and also the government have paid a lot of attention to the development of the ICT, ICT sector or the digital economy sector of the country, which give a lot of rights, have liberalized the sector a lot, to give people all the rights to own, store, and exchange even crypto tokens, for the development of the digital economy. And the country has, apart from traditional industrial sectors, the country also has huge success in the IT sector. Talking about WIBA, the original source code was developed in the country, and many other very successful online games in one way or another have its roots or connection with the Belarusian economy. And also some other software companies, they are also becoming very active players, in the international IT industry. And as Dr. Hersky correctly points out, Belarus is definitely one of the most active Belt and Road Initiative partners. It's the first country in CIS to receive the permission to sell meat in the Chinese mainland market, for instance. And there are many Chinese companies, including Media Group, including the China Merchant Group, which is a Hong Kong-based state enterprise, have a huge footprint in have already got a huge footprint in the Belarusian economy. If you go to the Minsk International Airport, you can see not only the Russian signages, but also ones in English and Chinese. And it surprised me a little bit, when I drive, or actually my colleagues drive me around from the airport to the hotel, where all the way you can see Chinese signage side by side Russian versions. So, and of course, the Greenstone Industrial Park is one of the milestones, between the Sino-Belarusian economic relations. And that said, actually China ranked third, as a trading partner with Belarus. And but of course, you can see if we are talking about investment or foreign direct investment, actually China account only for 2% of the FDI inflows in 2020, which means there is still plenty of room for further expansion. And actually, on the other hand, the country also have launched a lot of public-private partnership programs for international investors, including Hong Kong and mainland Chinese ones. Yep. There are more than 100 settlements, cities, neighborhoods in the country that are called secondary towns and rural areas, which are offering very generous perks to international investors. So these could also be potential destinations for Hong Kong or mainland Chinese companies who are looking for manufacturing relocation or further supply chain deployments. So this basically concludes my sharing today. I look forward to your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. very concise and very important summary of our features and strengths of Belarus economy, and also pointing out, you know, the participation of Chinese investment in Belarus and room for to grow. Well, yes, I think we can have 2 minutes, okay, of quick questions and answers. And anyone? Yes, yes, Dr. Linda Jia.
Hi, Louis, thanks very much for the presentation. I'm Linda Jia, also a fellow with Linda Lee at the CityU. So I have a quick questions to follow up on your presentations. You have a very interesting slide, especially I'm interested in the slide about the structure of the manufacturing industry, where you put together a number of sectors that are that looks like a lot of potential for Hong Kong business sectors to get involved. My question is, can you give us a hint on, although I know that there are a priority here in terms of the productions, but in terms of policy in Belarus government, do they have priority given to any of this sector? And are there any clusters? Because if some are on the lower in terms of the current ranking, but if they are, you know, packed together as the clusters, that might give us more potential for investment in future. So can you give us a little bit more hints on this?
Broadly speaking, if we take a look at the 6 special economic zones, they are basically zones for import substituting and export-oriented industries. So the country is a very manufacturing focus, and of course they have a pretty wide array of industries. We have visited some companies that are making microwaves and water heaters, while on the other hand, there are companies that are software companies, and they are making a very advanced ICT products as well, peripherals and mainframes and that kind of things, and also software development. And on the other hand, we also have a very heavy vehicle-related or agricultural-related machinery sector that could also be a niche for Hong Kong companies. Not exactly for Hong Kong manufacturers, but for Hong Kong traders who are trading these materials or trading these machineries with their counterparts in mainland China or the west of Asia.
Thanks, Louis. May I call upon the third speaker, who is actually from China Merchants Group? Because we have been talking about Chinese investment, and China Merchant Group is actually the major player, one of the major player in Belarus economy, and operating a very important industrial park.
So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Professor Lee, and thanks CityU for inviting us, China Merchants Group, as an enterprise to share our experience and thoughts on our projects in Belarus and Djibouti. Hope that it will be of help here for your academia research, personal career, or your business plan there. So here my presentation will be about the comprehensive development we have in Belarus and Djibouti, more specifically speaking, to share China Merchant Group's point of view from our unique business model and practice in these 2 countries. Actually,
before
so
you go on, Mr. Gao, maybe the participants will be interested to know where are you based now? You're based in Belarus, right?
Yeah, I'm about to begin that. So actually, before we get into the where and why we're implementing these 2 projects, I'd like to give you a short introduction of who we are, like China Merchants Group. Actually, we are China Merchants Group is a century-old commercial enterprise with multiple industries. We're now based in Hong Kong, but actually in our history, we can be traced back to Qing Dynasty. As old as 1872, where we are one of the earliest modern business enterprises established in the westernization movement and operating shipping lines at that time. And our second key development period was during the last century's, I would say the most important maybe economic event in China, the reform and opening up. We have developed and still operating the Shekou Industry Park since 1979, that is in Shenzhen. And actually it was only a small fishing village at that time and soon become one of the fastest developing area at that time and lead to the foundation of the city of Shenzhen. As you can see on the picture here, time is money, efficiency is life. That's our slogan, actually spoken by Mr. Yuan Geng, that he is at that time the leader of China Merchants Group. Nowadays, we focus on three business industries, namely transportation, finance, and urban and industrial park development. Nowadays, we are going globally with three major key businesses. Firstly, the operation of global ports network, including Shenzhen and Hong Kong, of course, that's our base, Djibouti, Sri Lanka, Brazil, Turkey, Togo, Nigeria, Australia. And secondly, we operate the logistics industry, especially the Euro-Asia logistics corridors, where we operate nearly 20% of the cargo volume of China Railway Express. You can see here the yellow line that is directly from China to all the way to Germany through Belarus.
Mr. Gao,
Yeah.
I think you need to share your PowerPoint if you want.
Can you see?
You need to use the share screen to share it.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And thirdly, we have comprehensive development of special zones. That is a model combining China Merchants Group's core strengths of port, park, and city in Djibouti, Belarus, Sri Lanka, and so on. So let's move to our practices. First, I would like to introduce the business model here. Here is the key logic of why and how. Well, we implemented the comprehensive development model that we actually implemented both in Belarus and Djibouti. So based on our experience in developing in Shekou, we accumulated core business know-how on ports, logistics, park, and urban development. Then while going globally, we find out that many potential countries such as Belarus, Djibouti, and Sri Lanka have their very unique advantages to become excellent international cooperation platforms, just like Shekou. But also they have a lot of shortcomings that restrain their full use of their potential. So we came out with the idea that why not apply our success in Shekou to focus on a relatively small area, special area, to systematically provide hard and soft environment about that. So here is the Greenstone Industrial Park. Here is a set of very recent pictures of the construction here. So, for our practice in Belarus, Belarus, as we all know that, it is a key bridge between East and West, connecting Russia and Central Europe. It's a member of Euro-Asia Economic Union. Build and accelerate development. The park's management has a strong support from the government, including 4 presidential decrees directly support the effective management of the development company. Under such framework, the company has strong right to important issues, so we can form a one-stop service center to provide infrastructure, administrative requirements, registration, and the policies are very attractive, as you can see here, including income tax, land property tax, and so on. And moreover, China merchants make use of our strengths in the logistic businesses. We solely invested a subpart in the logistics, trading, and exhibition functions. Tripod actually of the industrial park. It's also one of the earliest projects to start up and provide better services for the whole area. By 2020, the Greenstone Industrial Park has attracted 68 companies with planned investment of $1.2 billion, contracted investment of more than $700 million, and keep growing. The latest number, I think, is 75 companies already. In addition to commercial goals, as a big project, we also care about the sustainable environment in Belarus. We only developed the necessary area, reserving primeval forest area. And we also care social cultural connections with local community. Of our 177 employees, 149 are from the local. Now let me introduce our practice in Djibouti. It is another typical multi project that comprehensively develop port, park, and city. A picture here shows key projects in Djibouti on the left, right, and on the top right and top right. And in the middle, that is the free trade zone. On the top bottom, on the left bottom, is a port. And right is an urban development project that is still ongoing. We have seen from Djibouti. It is located in the main Asia-Europe shipping route west of Mandrake Strait. You can see that it is a bottleneck of the Red Sea with the finest port facilities in East Africa, already serving as a port hub for inland countries, especially Ethiopia. We believe that Djibouti during time can become one of the future world-class shipping center, trade center, and logistics center. In the long term, maybe it can be as important as Singapore, Dubai, or Hong Kong of Africa. So what we have done to fully explore the potential of Djibouti, first step, when we start our research in Djibouti as early as 2013, we found out that the old port has a history of more than 80 years. Facilities outdated, traffic series jumped because of the conflict with its city functions. So we proposed to relocate here, as you can see on the map, the whole layout to construct a new modern deep water multifunctional port away from the urban district. It has commenced operations since 2017. And to boost the trading hub function, the second step, we undertook the task to develop and operate a new free trade zone. Here's a picture of the startup area, 2.4 square kilometers, including land for lease, warehouses, and container yard, and also hotel and office buildings, which is not actually included in the picture, and a complete one-stop service center and costumes service. And by naming it a free trade zone, it is literally applying a systematic policies, which is also what we were doing back from our own successful development in Sheko in China. Not only tax exemptions, but also many flexible policies like workforce flow and cargo flows. From the start of the operation, that is 2018, until now, I think there are already more than 180 companies. Of them, 30 are Chinese companies, mostly trading, logistics, and also some manufacturing companies starting to registering in the area. More than 90% of the warehouses here have already been leased out. And we're also introducing some new services, including e-commerce platform and seaport airport joint logistics services, and so on. And thirdly, after the port and the free trade zone, we also commence city development by upgrading actually the old port area into urban function. As introduced previously, the old port was in the traffic jammed city center. We aim to redevelop it into the East Africa International Business Zone, combining with a new port and a new free trade zone to make Djibouti a real business attraction, not only for Djiboutians, but as a headquarters for East African businesses, just like the success we have had in Shenzhen or Hong Kong. So at the end, I'd like to share some insights or thoughts that we learned from these two projects. Firstly, we find out that social progress and commercial successes we always consider it in the long term. It's a very base of our China merchants' century-long operation success. Secondly, we believe that though both Belarus and Djibouti has maybe some uncertainties and risk, as we all know, they are developing countries, but real value can only be achieved through hardship. It is what we have done in Sheko in Shenzhen back to 1970s, and it is what we are doing now in Belarus and Djibouti. And it will be what we are doing in the future. Comprehensive development, this concept is simple, but hard to implement and slow in profit. But by dealing with the difficulties ourselves, we build a platform that is free of difficulties for our investors, for businesses to enter these countries. That is what we believe our core value and long-term return would be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gao. Because you know, the topic of your presentation is comprehensive development in Belarus and Djibouti. Very visionary plans, okay, for the two countries coming out from the experience of CMG in Shenzhen and Sheko. Well, and your last line actually admit that there are difficulties, right? So can you talk a little bit about the major challenge that or major difficulty you think this visionary plan for comprehensive development of you know, out of this port park city model of development?
Yeah, I would like to say that as you mentioned, not only like and Djibouti, as there's always like stereotypes, legal frameworks not healthy enough, not complete enough, finance institute not likely to have highway. All of them are correct, but the key is that we think that because we going very deep into these areas, we found out the risks often come from uncertainties, and uncertainties often from that what you don't know, like you're not doing enough research. After like you distinguish what is the real risk, I mean the real what that might be actually safe there, like for Djibouti, as we know that it's in Africa, it's the neighbor country to Somalia, which is like one of the most dangerous country in the world for now. For Djibouti, like there is actually a military bases from 7 countries to deal with the problem of Somali pirates. So actually it is one of the most safest country in Africa. So what my point is that we need more research on to distinguish what is likely, like from stereotypes, what is the risk, and what are the stabilities, and to, I mean, the deeper you go, the more you'll find that the risk is not that much, not manageable. Thank you.
Thank you. That is very encouraging. and also encouraging for our academics and researchers as well, right? Because what you're saying is that, yes, certainly a lot of risk, a lot of uncertainties, but actually most of the risk and uncertainty can be dealt with as long as we are better prepared. We do more homework, and then those things are manageable, right? That is the central message. That's very encouraging. That really sends us back to our library and do more field work, okay? So that rather than complaining all the time, right? Okay, thanks. Mr. Gao, stay with us, okay? Mr. Gao, stay with us. Okay, let us go to our fourth speaker in this first session before we have a break. Okay, this Mr. Deng Yi from China Telecom, very important, also very important player in Belarus and Djibouti. Mr. Deng Yi is also based in Belarus, right, Mr. Deng?
Yes. Yeah. Hi,
yes.
Professor.
Okay, thanks. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Ding Yi. I'm from China Telecom Group. It is an honor to have a chance to sit here together with everyone here. Firstly, I'm going to introduce myself and my company briefly. My name is Ding Yi. As I mentioned, I'm responsible for the business development business task in Belarus and the Ukraine region. And my company, China Telecom Group, which is CTG, was established in 2012, and the site is headquartered in Hong Kong. Sorry. Okay, now what I'm showing you is management member of China Telecom Global, CTG. Our CEO is Mr. Tian Yijun. Up to now, the business and the affiliates of CTG have spread to 41 countries and regions around the world. Of course, such rapid growth are closely related to the purpose of our company, which is we are dedicated to create value for our customers in their business transformation, enabling them to achieve business growth, enhance global footprint, and maintain a competitive edge. Someone will be curious about what do we have, what kind of resource we have, China Telecom Group we have. First of all, we have a huge amount of data transmission resources around the world, as you can see on this page. We possess 47 submarine cables and more than 100 POPs in the world, which can guarantee any customers the data transmission quality and safety. At the same time, combining the data transmission resources, we have our own professional capability in ICT field, so we can provide any DICT related solutions for any customers. We also have mounting resources for providing cloud computing product. All these resources enable China Telecom Global to provide any digital cloud plus a network combination solutions that meet any relevant scenario needs from any customers. So, okay, I believe everyone is tired of listening to my advertising here. So we are now focusing on the center of today's topic, Belarus. According to the map, Belarus is an important transportation node in Europe, connecting the countries in East and Europe and Western Europe. The relationship between China and Belarus is very strong, and the closeness for bilateral relationships has been steadily increasing in recent years. On the basis of such good relationship between China and Belarus, the China-Belarus Industry Park was born. This project highly corresponding to the One Belt, One Road policy. This is a huge project, which divided into 3 phases. Each phase is every 10 years. The total industry park area is about 92 square kilometer. After establishment of this park, now the China-Belarus Industry Park already has 79 residential companies in park. As you can see, the reason why the China-Belarus Industry Park is so attractive It's mainly because of a series of preferential policies provided by the park and the good business and investment environment in Belarus, plus a well-educated population in Belarus. Maybe you can now mention that the ratio of high education population is 85% in Belarus. It's amazing. You can see that since 2019, when I started working at China Telecom Global, the industry park has attracted more than 30 companies to enter the park and register in park. Of course, cannot be smooth sailing, as you know, it's just like life. We always have to face many challenges. The pandemic has caused a serious impact on Belarusian economy. The economic growth for the whole year of 2020 was -4%. Plus the economic sanction imposed by US and some of EU countries is also biting the Belarusian economy painfully. Please take a look at the statistic table. Then you can see that the Belarusian economy has shown significant growth since 2016. However, due to the above mentioned factors, well, no one can imagine before 2020 that the economic volume in 2019 will become peak during 2016 to 2022. Of course, there are other factors that have caused some troubles for troubles for our development in Belarus, such as big differences between the two countries in terms of building codes and the technical standards, but this can be solved much more smoothly by effective communication. This is how exactly we are doing, keep doing, and the Belarusian government also bring their best effort to support us. So approved by China Telecom Group and China Telecom Global. China Telecom Belarus company was registered and established in the China Belarus Industry Park 2016. The purpose of China Telecom in Belarus is to participate in the construction and the operation of telecommunication infrastructure of the park. Telecom Global Belarus focused on serving Belarus, Eastern Europe, and even the CIS countries, getting any partners to settle in and further improving the industry park's comprehensive service capabilities. So China Telecom Belarus began to participate in the construction of the network also since 2016, and formally started providing high-quality network services to enterprises in park since 2019. The picture on the left refers to the initial construction area of the first phase of the industry park. As you can see that we have already covered our own network pipelines over this area. Since we started to commercialize our network, GPON network in park, our customers number has been growing. Starting from 2019, customer quantity has grown from 28 to 40. It is expected that by the end of this year, our customer number will reach 50, hopefully. It shows that the park is growing. In addition to ordinary GPON network in the park, we are also developing our other DICT businesses. We have successfully obtained multiple DICT products in Belarus, such as construction of ICT, IDC, OE systems, the development of a monitoring system, and other meaningful digital products, which support us to further promote business development in Belarus and other neighboring countries. The two statistic graphs on the right showing that our company's business level has been steadily improving since 2019. The amount of sending orders has been, of course, affected by the aforementioned challenges factors, but I believe this is temporary, and the revenue level will be continued to rise. In addition to what we are doing, and what is more important, I think, is what we are doing to do for next step. First of all, from a macro perspective, let me introduce some of the information we analyzed. So what more I see in Belarus is from this positive point, we can see the country's potential. The bilateral relationships and the bilateral trading volume between China and Belarus keep surging. The Belarus China Industry Park also is growing. The Russian economy will step into a highway, I believe that, as you can see the graph. Also, the Belarus is a leading IT country in the world. And from telecommunication companies' viewpoint, we also see that in Belarus, the telecommunication network penetration rate is high and keep growing. This country has even not reached the peak of 4G era, but also the 5G will be coming soon. So we can tell that telecommunication industry is super potential. Internet data will be soaring. So the DC and the cloud business model will be a great direction for us and for any of us, for any potential investors. This page shows that we, China Telecom Global, CTG, have a large number of DC resources in the world, but we do not have currently it in Belarus. But the establishment of DC in Belarus will be a trend for us. And there is the good news for DC consider that the electricity price is only 117 US cents per kilowatt hour. It's amazing for nowadays situation in the power area, since everybody knows that the price of electricity in other Europe countries reached eye-watering record high. So some of DC owners in this country has already started considering and even started cooperating with some Chinese investors and cloud computing technologies holders to improve their marketing share and capability to get a win-win. Okay then, that's the end of my presentation today. Hopefully I could have provided you with some useful information to help you make the next decision. If you have any questions or ideas, feel free to connect with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ding. Well, certainly you have provided a lot of useful information. Well, Mr. Ding needs to run for some business on the ground, okay, in Belarus. So he will not be able to join the panel discussion. So I think please, Mr. Deng, stay with us for a few more minutes right now, okay? So see whether our participants and our speakers have any burning questions to ask from you at this moment, okay? And we are lucky also that in our panel, one of the discussants is also from China Telecom, Mr. Wang Qiyu. So hopefully he can cover a bit, okay, on the graph. If I don't see any hands showing up right now, may I just ask one question from Mr. Ding, okay? You know, because we heard from you as well as some other previous speakers that Belarus actually also has a pretty strong ICT sector, right? So am I right to suppose that actually there are some other telecom communication providers in Belarus at this moment, other than your company? So are you facing any competition in Belarus, and how about in Greenstone? So what is the situation? What is the landscape?
It's a very good question. Yes, of course we are facing competitors, strong competitors, because in Belarus, not just us, just Belarus Telecom and A1 Global also, they have their own operators, and they have a huge legacy already in Belarus. But I believe that we can handle this because we are facing a different group of customers. Firstly, we are Chinese company. Firstly, and we are located in the Greenstone, which is China Belarus Industry Park. The first, we are facing the Chinese enterprises which are willing to invest in these countries. So the ICT project we can provide for this firstly of the group of Chinese enterprises customers. And secondly, we are the exclusive operators network operated in the park, in the industry park. So so we are the only operators which put a lot of capex investment in this park, and we are the only choice for this customer in park for getting the network services, but it's not the but please don't worry about that, because we are the exclusive operators in the park, but we provide the best quality, the highest quality network services for any customer in the park.
Okay, thanks. So, so right now at Greenstone Industrial Park, China Telecom is the only supplier of ICT services, right?
Network services. Network. We have less exclusive. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Well, I got a question, just got a question from one of the participants. Very quickly, I will go through it. The question was about international sanctions. So does it bother you, the international sanctions of Belarus?
Yes, some sanctions imposed by US and EU, some countries, they are biting the prospective project from China investors, because for example, I will not mention the exactly name of the company. Okay, there is a Chinese company. They 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they planned to invest for for huge project in Belarus, which I also successfully firstly get our ticket for enter this project to become the ICT providers, but since this year the economic sanction was imposed, so the project was stopped, ceased. So this cost also the risk and the potential, I think, lost for us.
Okay, thanks. So indirectly, it impact you on your business and services.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Deng. I think I should not prevent you from moving on your site visit. Well, I think because our speakers have a very full, our information to share, so we have overrun a little bit. Okay, but I think we all need a few minutes break. May I propose that we only have 5 minutes break, okay, so that we catch up a little bit of time for our next session. So our next session, my colleague, Dr. Linda Jia would moderate.
And Dr. Zhichao, I will pass the platform to you.
大家好，大家下午好。我需要用中文和大家交流。那么首先要感谢李老师的邀请。那么今天我想和大家聊一聊一个非洲国家吉布提的发展故事。那么我的题目是增量发展“一带一路”倡议以来的吉布提经济。那么我们为什么要关注吉布提呢？就是说吉布提到底有什么值得我们讨论的，或者说它的价值在哪里呢？那么首先我想跟大家陈述3个基本事实。那么首先第一个事实是吉布提啊，它曾经是世界上最不发达的国家之一，但是这种状况呢，在“一带一路”倡议之后迅速发生了改变。那么吉布提的，我可以给大家说一个数字，吉布提的人均 GDP 从2012年的1559美元提高到了2020年的3426美元。那么它的世界排名呢， 从2012年的162名上升到了2020年的137名。它的 GDP 总量从2012年的13.54美元增加到了2020年的33.84美元，增加了1倍左右。那么它的经济增长率呢，长期排在非洲前5。那么这个事实，我想不仅对于吉布提，对于整个非洲而言呢，都是令人鼓舞的。我想单从这一个事实出发，吉布提呢就有它的研究价值。第二个事实是中国和吉布提近年来的经贸合作，我认为它超越了传统的对外援助模式。那么很长一段时间以来，这个欧洲很多国家对这个发展中国家的援助，对外援助，从根本上来说呢，大多是基于国家战略或者说是安全考虑。他们的目标并不是要改变受援助国的贫穷面貌。事实上呢，也的确没有改变，也没有发生什么改变。但是中国不一样，中国和这个非洲的很多合作呢，它是坚持这个经济优先，互相支持，互相成就。在这个过程中，我们秉承的是商业优先原则。事实证明，这种经贸合作模式对于非洲，对于很多发展中国家是更加务实可行的。这是第二个事实。那么第三个事实是中国和吉布提的经贸合作和以往的资源型经济合作模式也很不一样。那么在以前，很多国家和非洲的这个经贸合作呀，大多是为了非洲的资源而来。但是吉布提这个国家呢，它刚好是缺乏资源的，它没有什么自然资源，所以中国企业在吉布提投资过程中呢，它大多不是为了这个资源，而是在投资过程中把我们很多发展理念带到了吉布提，带到了非洲。因此呢，我们今天来讨论吉布提的这个发展故事，我想对于整个非洲国家也是有新的示范价值的。这是我想说的第一点。那么大家一定很好奇啊，在这个“一带一路”倡议之后，吉布提它究竟做对了什么呢？那么在回答这个问题之前，我们不妨呢先大概了解一下这个吉布提这个国家。吉布提呢，原来它是法国殖民地，1977年呢独立建国，它的国土面积呢只有2.3万平方公里，相当于1个半北京这么大，人口呢不到100万，只有99万。那么它这个文盲率呢超过了一半，超过了50%。作为一个小型城市经济体，吉布提长期以来它都是全球世界上最不发达的国家之一。那么自然环境方面，自然资源方面，吉布提这个国家呢条件非常恶劣，它属于热带沙漠气候，全境终年是酷热少雨，平均气温呢达到37度。除了少部分盐田和地热资源，这个国家几乎没有什么宝贵的这个矿产资源，甚至于很多基础性的生产和生活资料都是没有办法在国内得到满足的。经济方面，吉布提它这个经济基础非常薄弱，产业结构呢单一，其中这个工业增加值占到 GDP 比重的只有15%，农业增加值占 GDP 比重只有2%。那么这个以港口为主的第三产业支撑了吉布提80%以上的就业和经济产出，这也就导致了吉布提这个国家独立性非常差，90%以上的建设资金需要依靠外援，95%以上的农产品和工业品需要靠这个进口来满足。但是“一带一路”倡议以来，吉布提的经济形势发生了很大变化。从图1反映的非常明显，大家可以看到，从这个2012年招商局正式进入吉布提之后呢，出现了一个拐点，这个经济增长率迅速提高。那么从2014年到19年，吉布提的这个 GDP 增长率，分别达到了7.06%、7.7%、6.65%、5.4%、8.41%，这个增长率是比较高的。那么人均 GDP 呢，从2014年到19年，分别是5%、5.89%、4.92%、3.73%、6.73%以及6.15%，这个人均 GDP 增长率同样很高。那么这个数字之外呢，我还想援引2个吉布提人的这个原话。那么其中一个吉布提人就说，这个外资进入吉布提已经有100年历史了。 但是吉布提真正的发展，则是近几年来随着中国企业的投资才开始的。那么还有一个吉布提人呢，就是说法国统治了吉布提上百年，丝毫没有改变吉布提的贫穷面貌。但是与招商局的合作不过5、6年，吉布提的经济和社会各项领域的积极变化也是非常明显。那么现在我们就回答一下吉布提在“一带一路”倡议之后，它究竟做对了什么吧？那么我把它概括为4个字，就是增量发展。增量发展 （incremental development）。说到增量发展，首先来看这个发展。为了发展，吉布提怎么才能发展？它唯一可以利用的优势，其实就是它的地理位置。大家可以看一下这个吉布提的这个地理位置图。吉布提在这个位置，它这个位置呢，它雄居东非之角，是非洲安全事务的一个制高点，可以有效辐射北非、中非和东非的大部分地区。其次呢，吉布提它又扼守这个红海的入海口。这个红海呢，恰恰又是印度洋和地中海的一个通道，也是国际战略要道苏伊士运河的咽喉。那么第三呢，吉布提还是埃塞俄比亚当前唯一的一个出海口，因为埃塞俄比亚是一个内陆国，它没有自己的出海口，它需要依靠这个吉布提来实现这个贸易。那么埃塞俄比亚呢，近年来它的经济增长也是非常迅速的，而且是一个拥有1亿多人口的一个非洲大国。那么综上几点呢，我想这个吉布提它这个经济发展啊、社会发展唯一的这个切入点必然在于港口，也只能是港口。那么关键这个中国在开发利用这个港口的时候和以前有什么不一样呢？有什么不一样？我把它这个用一句话来概括，就是招商局这个 PPC 模式，前港中区后城。那么关于 PPC 的模式的这个具体细节还有实操环节，因为时间关系我就不多讲，而且刚才这个有我们招商局的这个专家讲的也很详细啊。那么作为研究人员呢，我想讲一讲 PPC 模式背后体现的这个理论逻辑是什么，也就是增量发展的逻辑是什么。那么这包括了4个方面内容。第一个是这个项目的选址，第2个是项目的目标，第3个是项目的主体，第4是项目的这个实施过程。我们分别来看一下这4个方面。首先是这个项目选址，在项目选址上呢，这个我们中国在吉布提是另外选择了一个新的地段来建这个港口和自贸区，这样呢，充分规避对既得利益体系的冲击。那么刚才也说了，这个招商局的专家也说了，我们在吉布提这个港口啊是选了一个新港。那么这个老港呢，它位于城市的一个中心，码头和这个城市混杂，没有严格的功能分区。如果要对这个老港升级改造，就涉及到土地整备啊、房屋拆迁呐等等一系列工作，牵涉到的利益群体很大，改造难度呢也很大。交易成本很高，这远远超出了另外新建一个港口的建设费用。那么其次，在建设新港口的同时，吉布提的这个老的港口啊，也没有完全弃用，两者的功能定位不一样，两者的发展呢是互补的。而且随着这个老港城市功能的开发，老港片区的这个土地价值也会大幅度升值。第三，还有这个吉布提自贸区的投资贸易啊等等这个政策，刚才说了非常的宽松，非常的优惠。但是这个政策呀，只限于自贸区内，这样呢就不会对吉布提现有的整体经济社会秩序带来很大的冲击，同时呢还能解决吉布提国内严重的这个失业问题。可见，另外选择一块新地建设新港和自贸区的这个举措，无论是从利益分配、技术可行性，还是从这个长远发展的这个角度来看，都是一个最优方案。这种方案呢，不仅没有冲击到吉布提的既得利益体系，反而给他们带来了增量收益，这就为项目的顺利持续发展奠定了基础。那么这个增量发展的第二个逻辑，项目目标，在项目目标上，我们中国注重的是优先解决吉布提的经济发展问题，注重的是增强吉布提的发展意愿和发展能力。就像许多非洲的国家政府一样，这个吉布提政府呢，长时间都是习惯了这个资产拥有者的角色，他们习惯于从这个 资源中获取静态的租金，他们没有发展的意愿，也缺乏发展的能力。但是自从和中国和招商局合作之后呢，这个局面得到了很大的这个改观。吉布提政府的发展意愿呢是大幅度增强，他们开始考虑如何更好的管理运营港口，以促进港口资产的升值，并且呢以港口为起点，构建了一个完整的产业发展体系。那么经济发展呢逐渐成为吉布提政府的优先考虑问题，他们开始考虑更加务实的这个发展方案，通过这个发展方案来寻求经济增长和提高国民收入水平。那么这个思想观念上的转变呀，其实对吉布提这样的非洲国家来说，影响是非常深远的。增量发展的第3个逻辑，也就是这个项目的主体。在项目主体上，吉布提由这个原来的政企不分，转向了企业主导。他们开始构建起了一个灵活务实的政企合作，政企协作关系。在中国和吉布提合作过程中，吉布提政府呢，它首先没有完全放任不管，也没有呢单一方面的主导这个项目，而是发挥和这个招商局和中国的企业发挥各自的优势。他们致力于构建起了一个灵活务实的政企协作关系。那么体现在第一是成立了这个吉布提港口有限公司。这个有限公司的成立标志着吉布提港口和自贸区的企业化转型。原先的这个港务局由法定的公营机构正式转制成为股份制的私营公司，这就改变了以往单一由政府主导国家资产的局面。第二是吉布提设立了吉布提港口和自贸区管理局。那么作为吉布提港口和自贸区的唯一权力机构，这个管理局呢由总统直接授权，同时也是自贸区和其他政府机构的唯一接口。这样呢就保证了政府对整个经济、整个市场的这个宏观指导和调控。第三是吉布提在这个自贸区内分别设立了运营公司和管理公司。其中这个运营公司和资产公司，那么对于这个资产公司呢，其中是吉布提政府占股60%，招商局呢占股40%。运营公司刚好相反，是招商局占股60%，吉布提政府占股40%。这样的安排呢，既满足了吉布提政府对土地资产这个核心资产的所有权，同时呢又满足了招商局对公司运营和管理的需求。
Hi, 主持人 may I interrupt you?
马上结束。
好 ，Thank you very much.
那么最后一个方面就是项目实施上是，我们中国和吉布提坚持的是一个分步推进和渐进扩展的开发路径。那么对于吉布提这样的发展中国家呀，无论是升级港口还是开发自贸区，或者是城市更新，它都是一个规模庞大、风险很高的项目。只有通过分步推进。以港口建设为起点，形成一个要素相互促进、循环累积的互动机制呢，才能推动吉布提经济的稳步发展。那么这里边呢，这个开发过程啊，就是比如说这个吉布提和招商局的合作，在最早呢仅仅限于港口业务。那么随着双方合作初见成效，才有了这个自贸区的一个这个合作设想。那么包括这个自贸区的建设，同样也是一个稳步推进的过程。虽然规划面积有48.2平方公里，但是它这个起步区面积只有2.4平方公里。也就是说，这个中国和吉布提的合作是一个渐进扩展的过程。那么最终实现了港口、产业园区和这个城市的有机结合，三者相辅相成。最后呢，它可以避免这个投资的随意性。这是我想说的这个吉布提增量发展的一个内在的逻辑。好，因为时间关系，我就说这么多，谢谢大家。
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Chao, for your sharing. Since we don't have a lot of time, so I suggest we cut short of the burning question sections, and we will leave all the discussions towards the end. So may I now invite Dr. Ge Ying, intermediate researchers of Hebei Academy of Social Science. She has a PhD in economics of the National Academy of Sciences of Belarus to share your insightful information to us. Dr. Ge, please.
Thank you. And thank you to professors of CityU. Thank you, Professor Linda Lee, and our audience. And it's my pleasure to be invited to as a speaker of our workshop. So first, I'll introduce myself briefly. And I'm graduated from the National Academy of Sciences of Belarus, and now work in Hebei Academy of Social Sciences. My research field is open economy about the One Belt, One Union, its integration of the economic belts of the Silk Road and the Eurasian Economic Union. Also the regional studies of the Central and Eastern Europe. I've published almost 30 articles and papers in 4 languages and in different international journals and conferences. I lived in Belarus for 13 years. I was being the interpreter of the high-level meeting between China and Belarus for many times. And in last year, I received the recommendation letter from the presidential administration of Belarus. So here are my contacts. If anyone of our audience have questions about Belarus, I'm very glad to answer. So I'm going to share about the construction and development of overseas economic and trade cooperation zones from the perspective of Belt Road. I'll take the China-Belarus Industrial Park as an example. The first part is the historical background and the development stage of overseas zones of China. And the construction of the industrial parks is industrial parks and these zones are an important experience of China's economic reform and the main measure of China's development model. And overseas economic and trade cooperation zones are an innovative form and important career of China's opening economy. And the development can be expanded in 3 periods. The first is exploration period. It's from 1990 to 2004. And at this stage, some trade companies, like they invested in large-scale commercial, cultural, and entertainment projects, such as Chinatown in Paris. We can see on the figure 2. In 1991, the Guangdong Yuehai Holding Company invested nearly 100 million euros to build the Chinatown in Paris. And this project was called like Overseas Forbidden City at that time. Although at this time, the enterprises, they shows like spontaneous behavior because they build these projects to serve themselves. But it also collected experience for the future development of overseas zones, like the Hungary-China-Europe Business Logistics Park is upgraded from the China Mall in the early years. The second part is from 2005 to 2020, and at this time, the development path of these overseas zones are promotion of the government, and the government constructed the public platform. At this time, the development also influenced by the global financial crisis. So the total number hasn't changed much, but the number of fluctuated. The third period is accelerated development period, is from 2013 to present, and as the Belt and Road Initiative was proposed in 2013. So as of September 2018, China's overseas zones have grown to 113, distributed in 46 countries and regions, as we can see on the figure 3. So there are 20 national level overseas zones that distributed mostly in Eastern Europe, South Asia, and Africa, mainly developing countries. So these overseas zones can be divided in 5 types. The first type is manufacturing type. And the second type is the resourcing utilizing type. And third is agriculture type and the commercial logistic type. The first is researching technical type, and the fifth is the multiple comprehensive type. So our China-Belarus Industrial Park belongs to the fifth type, and which is most of the types. So I'm not going to expand it due to short time. So I'm going to concentrate on our like the Pearl project of Belt and Road, this China-Belarus Industrial Park. So our colleagues, Mr. Gao, Mr. Harsky, have already talked about the advantages of this in industry park. So I'm going to concentrate on the on my study. I've compared. I have compared some of the special economic zones in the EU countries and other Eurasian Economic Union countries, and has found that the policy of China-Belarus Industrial Park are the most preferential because the profit tax, personal income tax, and the land tax of EU countries are generally high, and due to the implementations of provisions of the unfilled legislation of the free economic zones in the EU, each part cannot formulate highly differentiate preferential policies, while China-Belarus Industrial Park can formulate it independently. So I know many of our audience are auditors and lawyers. So if you need, you can make a screenshot on this tax rate. Yeah, and this tax rate in the neighboring country, it's from Latvia, and it's a tax rate in special economic zones of the Lithuania. And also, Belarus has other advantages, like the level of higher education of Belarus is 5%. So the quality of population is very high. And I also compared the R&D development indicators between China and Belarus is in 2019. And we found that the number of scientific researchers per 100 economically employed persons of Belarus is higher than China. So the overseas economic and trade cooperation zones always show national strategy. So the China-Belarus Industrial Park, from the side of China, it shows the Made in China 2025 and the going out strategy. And from the side of Belarus, one strategy was proposed by the President Alexander Lukashenko. It is digital neighboring belt. And both sides want to promote the cooperation on the joint development of the Belt and Road. So after the outbreak of the pandemic, overseas economic trade cooperation zones has also become a platform of China and foreign countries to jointly fight the pandemic. For example, after the outbreak of China in China, the Belarusian government and the China-Belarus Industrial Park transported 2 batches of humanitarian aid materials with a total of about 40 tons to China by military aircraft. And they are the first country to donate medical materials to China. And China provided 3 batches of 500,000 doses of vaccine to Belarus in early 2021, and took the lead in vaccination in China-Belarus Industrial Park. So, and this is the end of my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation and a very good timing. Unfortunately, we plan to have another speakers in these sections, but due to some emergency, he will not be able to show up. So it leaves us with a little bit more time for discussions before we have a break, and then later on we will have the overall panel discussion. So now we have a little bit time. We have a sections by Dr. Chao on Belarus situations in general. He talks about the geographical locations and also a very interesting incremental development approach. And then Dr. Ge talks about zone in particular in Belarus, zooming on this more narrowly defined kind of development model. So we have two sections talking to each other. Any questions on the floor that we want to follow up on their presentation?
Well,
in that
may I
one?
come in
Sure, sure,
while
sure.
the other participants are warming up? I like to thank both speakers in this session. First of all, Dr. Ji Chao worked. We co-worked together a couple of years ago at CSHK Research Center for Sustainable Hong Kong, and so a lot of our work relating to Belt and Road Initiative, including Djibouti in particular, we'll see the footprint of Professor Ji Chao. Okay, so thanks, Ji Chao, for your contribution at the time, and of course today as well. And Ge-yin, we met Ge-yin, well, when we visited Belarus back in 2018, right? So, so it's great to see you again. Well, in fact, I have a question for Ge-yin. Okay, apart from what you shared, a while ago on Belarus and the industrial park. Well, because I think you are privileged in a way that you have stayed in Belarus as a graduate student for 13 years. And then you also work a lot with academics and also the government there. And of course, with the Chinese investors, right? The major SOEs, players there. So with this, you yourself actually a very important catalyst of this cross-cultural or cross-country collaboration, right? So I just wonder whether you can share a bit more on this, your experience as cross-cultural sharing and mediating between different stakeholders, right? From two countries, private sector, public sector, right? Academia and industry, right? I think must be very interesting.
Thank you, Prof. Linda, for a question. Yeah, I think yes, but maybe I just show my own perspective because the Belarus is like my second motherland. Yeah, I don't feel a difference when people talk to me in Chinese or in Russian. I don't feel the differences. So I think use one phrase, yeah. In Chinese culture, yeah, 一样米养百样人. I think people are the same, yeah. People are actually the same, yeah. If you talk with them, but I would like to say that our from the mental and from the social system, yeah. I'm also the same because Belarus is also use a 5-year plan to develop their country, develop their economy. So, but if we talk about the differences, the first thing going on of mine is Belarus have many beautiful ladies, yeah. Beautiful ladies, and they are more. I'd like to say they're more open. Yeah, they have they're more emotional, and they would like to communicate with you with a more emotional or something like just use their emotions to impact you. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just I feel so. High context culture with a low context culture, I would like to say, but clever people everywhere are the same, thinking about the same thing.
Okay, thank you for the response. I actually got a quick questions in the chat for Dr. Chao. So this questions is about the BRI as a driver of Djibouti's rapid economic growth. And could you elaborate more to what extent the country's economic growth is attributed to the BRI? How is it related to the Belt and Road Initiative? For example, how ports and terminals does Djibouti have? How many ports and terminals does Djibouti have, and how many are operated by Chinese companies? Do you have any idea that you can share with the audience? Dr. Cha, is it something that you know? I mean, now
Yes.
that you can share? Yeah.
可以听到吗？
Yes.
哦，
季乔在等你的回复。
哦，
刚才那个问题啊，
没问题。你可以用中文跟我交流吗？
就大概想知道那个这个“一带一路”这个计划跟吉布提的快速的经济发展有什么关系？就是比如说到底有多少个港口跟那个terminals 就那个总站是跟那个中国的公司跟投资有关系的呢？你大概有没有一个资料可以跟我们分享一下？
是这样，因为吉布提它整个它这个国民经济体系啊，它这个结构啊，产业结构是比较单一的。它这个整个国民经济主要靠的就是这个港口。那么在“一带一路”倡议之前，这个整个国家它这个 GDP 的规模只有10几个亿。那么自从2012年这个招商局正式投资吉布提之后，这几年呢，吉布提的经济规模大概是翻了一番。那么这个增量主要来自哪里呢？一部分就是这个港口的业务，另外一部分就是港口带动的这个自贸区。其实自贸区虽然不是港口的范畴，但是它是跟这个港口是密切相关的，它是整个的一个作为一个产业体系存在的，所以我们可以认为啊，它这个整个的这个经济增量是由这个港口间接带动起来的。多增加这部分将近就是有10几个亿，这是一个如果非要用具体的数字来衡量的话，我想是这样子的。
Okay, so in brief, so it's because of the China merchants' investment, basically the economic development in Djibouti doubles. But I think to what extent the exact effect of Chinese investment will have to be researched in greater detail so that we know better. Right, so we may continue these discussions later during the panel discussions, but now we are very happy that we got the third speakers on board. Dr. Alexander Bursbody, who is the partner of North Corporate Finance, is now ready to share with us about his idea on Djibouti's development in Belarus.
So just a few words about the North Star Corporate Finance. So this is a independent partner-owned investment bank and advisory firm, which is based in Prague, Stuttgart, and Moscow. The company established in 1998, and we are, let's say, close to 30 years of the CIS market. We are doing mostly corporate finance, looking for investors, helping clients to find partners, and so on, on the territory of CIS and Europe. So we are also the member of Geneva Capital Group, which is a big partnership all around the world. We've got even presence in China. So the first question was asked for Professor. I would like to explain so about the M&As for the Belt and Road investment in Belarus. First, what I need to mention that Belarusian people are very kind and hard-working, yeah, people, and if somebody will come to Belarus, you can see that this nation is very, let's say, workaholic, and they are ready to help you. And this is a very good, positive thing in Belarus. So about M&As. Unfortunately, there were no M&As connected to the Belt and Road and investment in Belarus. The most M&As in Belarus now connected to the IT industry. So as you know from the previous speakers probably that Belarus is a leader in IT. That's why the most of M&As was in this sphere. Last year, 90% of M&As was in IT sphere. So speaking about challenges for investors, how to identify the M&A targets, conduct due diligence, and how to negotiate deals. Again, it is possible to do the business in Belarus, but there are some, let's say, lack and absence of information. There is no big consolidated information systems. Especially, you cannot find systems like in Europe when you can get all parameters in one. Most of the, so again, they are not consolidated, and some of them are, for some of them you must pay. Then big international data and analytical systems such as S&P, Capital IQ, PitchBook, and so on, they've got very small and tiny information about Belarus. So again, when you come to Belarus, you have to be prepared to find this information by yourself, to go to different sources, to speak to different people, talk to the government, and so on. And based on this, again, this is possible, but there are some difficulties on this way. When we talk about financial aspects of the corporations in Belarus, we need to say that banking system in Belarus, banking system is not bad. Even in comparison with the banking system of other CIS countries, it means former Soviet Union countries. It's very comparable, and what I can say is that, for example, payments and the timing for the payments is the best in former Soviet Union. But there are some negative things which is connected with political things, which of course and unfortunately highly affected the business. Then you need to know that all state banks are under sanctions. Yeah, of course, all of us understand that this is wrong way of doing business, sanctions and so on. I think this like a part of non-truth cooperation, but life is life. Again, about the bank, they've got not enough capital and expensive credits. You can get credits in local currency like 18-20%. So if we do some small SWOT of this, yeah, so we can say that there are the positive things are quick transactions, e-banking system, which is not bad in the country, experienced personnel of the front offices and in all the banks, e-payment system, and if you are working with a state company, you will get a good support from the bank also. The negative things, again, I already told that the banks they've got not enough resources. The financing is expensive. expensive. We can get difficulties to get the credit connected with the special regulations. On my view, there are a lot of limitations connected to the e-payments in country. But again, all of this, I cannot say that we cannot work. There are some difficulties on this. Now I would like to say about a few words about the new reality. Because of pandemic things, the most difficult thing for China and for other worlds become the logistic process. You probably know better than me than price for logistics is rise dramatically, up to 10 times or maybe more. And now one of the first questions raised, how to deliver goods to Europe and what to do. And on my view, yeah, their priority moved to the railroad transport. And we need to think how to do this through. Then let me talk something about geography, politics, and competitive advantage. So there could be different view about political situation in this region and so on. But what I can say, so the geographical position will remain the stable anyway. Yeah, you can find highly skilled and competitive workforce in this country. Again, anyway, Belarus will remain under the Russian protection. Belarus remains a great access point to all CIS market, no custom clearance. And that could be like a place of Chinese expansion to the CIS market. And of course, I didn't say it that as I know, the Belarusian government is highly support cooperation with China. As I know that government got very good relationship. Then we know that China, in comparison with other, have the longest planning strategy horizon. Then China usually think about the future, not thinking only about this year, but thinking about 10, 20, or even 100 years. Then again, Belarus is very interesting position for this. Again, I would like to say that China have a wonderful connection with Russia and Belarus government and so on. And that's why we need also connect, also think about back to the political situation. So looks like the world is, this is not a good thing, but looks like the world is trying to divide for the parts, yeah, and the cooperation is increasing. Cooperation, competition, yeah, competition is highly increasing, yeah, and there is a, because of this whole new situation, because of the sanctions against Belarus, the sanctions could be applied against China, against Russia, and so on. So China got less and less possibilities to invest into the Western world and so on. And that's why I think China should understand that it's better and more interested
So we can have a very, very short break for 5 minutes, and then we probably will be able to have 25 minutes time for discussion. So let's have a break now.
Okay. We're going to host this together, and then let me go first. Linda, please chip in anytime, okay? Well, we will start with our two distinguished discussants first, and each of them would comment briefly on what's been discussed so far at the workshop. And then we would see, whether there are any, depending on what they said, okay? So we would ask the speakers to respond, or we would have the participants, any questions to come in, okay? And then we will have some 25, I think we have 25 minutes of discussion altogether. So the first discussant, Dr. Jerry Zhang, will speak first. Jerry is an investment banker by his, his major experience. And he also, we went to Belarus field trip a couple of years ago. And Jerry recently also published a book on Belt and Road Initiative. Yeah, and after Jerry, we will invite our second discussant, Mr. Wang CityU. CityU is the Vice President of China Telecom Global, and he's usually based in Hong Kong, and he's a professional accountant by training. So he is responsible for a lot of this Belt and Road Initiative related projects, in particular project management and financing deals. Okay, so very important activities and planning and execution.
Here, and thank you for your kind introduction. And just so here's my book, what Professor Li mentioned. I will just summarize a few points, or actually, since our presenters have gave a very extensive coverage on the two industrial parks, I will just share a few thoughts. And also, given that our audiences are mostly Hong Kong firms and business firms who may be looking at these industrial parks for potential business opportunities. So I will have a few brainstorming thoughts to share, and hopefully that will lead our audience to ask more questions to our audience, to our speakers. Okay, a few thoughts to share. The first one is we have heard a lot about these two countries and the two industrial parks. How do they stand against the rest of the so-called industrial parks, special economic zones in the world? According to one statistics, there are over 5,000 such industrial parks, special economic zones, or free trade zones, whatever the names are, in the world. And China, according to some statistics, and also Dr. Guiying mentioned also, China is currently operating over 100 so-called Belt Road industrial parks around the world. So we have covered two. How are they doing comparing to the rest of the industry? In 2020, FDI is a reputable global publication ranking all the industrial parks in the world. China Belarus Industrial Park was awarded a special award in the new category called the Belt and Road Initiative category. The remarks made by the FDI magazine saying that the Great Park Industrial Park in Belarus is at the core of the country's participation in China's Belt and Road Initiative. That means within over 100 industrial parks operated by Chinese firms, this one stands out as the Belt and Road Industrial Park. In 2019, Djibouti International Free Trade Zone was ranked among the top 10 global free trade zones. That's a huge recognition, given that there are over 5,000 of such industrial parks in the world. And it also has won several recognitions in special categories. For example, one of that is red tape reduction, which I probably will cover in a second. Then why are they so specially recognized by the industry? I think these two industrial parks all offer the so-called one-stop service functions. They essentially intend to serve the incoming firms for a life cycle. That means from the very beginning to help evaluate the project's feasibility to the entire process of applying for new registrations, the taxes, and also other approval matters. And they help also deal with the local authorities, for example, if there are issues come up. So essentially, these services will free up the firms located in the park to focus on their core business and leaving the rest to those park operators, which are highly recognized. And for investors look at these industrial parks, there are a couple of advantages. Some are common to most of the industrial parks. Some are very unique to these two. For example, we have heard from the previous speakers that each of these parks offers substantial benefits, including reduced taxes or even zero taxes on profit, dividend, and so on. And also one striking difference is that most of these industrial parks help outsource the host government process so that incoming firms, foreign investors will not need to deal with the host bureaucracies. They can only need to deal with the park operators and so that they can expedite their investment process. And all these industrial parks get the local government legal commitment to protect investors' property rights. These are all very important to investors from abroad. And for Hong Kong firms or any other firms looking at these opportunities, I thought that maybe there are a couple of options for investors to think about. The most obvious is as the production cost in China is escalating, many firms have located or relocated their production facilities overseas. Definitely, these industrial parks will be able to host some of those which might be relocated from China. And another idea that may be applicable to some of the firms is to start up a new business in those industrial parks by accessing the local advantages or local market, the local technologies. For example, in Belarus, you can access the EU market very conveniently. In Djibouti, you can access the African market very conveniently. We have an example coming from Hong Kong. Dr. Frank Leong's business is an example. He's one of our proud CityU DBA graduates. He moved his family through business from China to Ethiopia. We heard a lot about the Ethiopia, which uses Djibouti as a gateway. And he has been doing very successfully there. And on the one hand, he moved his business to a low-cost region. Secondly, he actually accessed the local market. And so he got benefit from both fronts. And also we talked about how we can capitalize on the industrial parks along the Belt Road parks to export Hong Kong services. I thought that maybe I'd like to hear from the speakers too, whether it's an idea for Hong Kong firms to contract some of the project. For example, China Telecom would operate its own network services. People don't know Hong Kong MTR, for example, it operates 260 kilometers of railway lines here in Hong Kong. But outside Hong Kong, it operates another 2,600 probably. It operates Beijing's number 4, Shenzhen's number 4, and subway lines in Sydney and Europe. That means Hong Kong's services can be exported to these potential market. And of course, it takes a lot of effort for the firms and also to customize to the local needs. These are some just my thoughts to share, and I love to hear questions and also hear comments from the speakers. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry, for your comments. And maybe CityU.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Good afternoon. Thank you, everybody. First of all, thank you for the Linda and the CityU invite me to this discussion. I think it's during the whole afternoon discuss. I have a I think everybody have very depressed for this discussion, and then we have a deep knowledge for these two countries, very close relationship with China, and then it's very important point, very important country in BRI initiatives. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Wang Qiyu. I'm the Vice President of China Telecom Global. I'm thank you for my colleague Ding Yi. He's based in. He already introduced our company, so I no need to introduce our company. I in charge in China Telecom Global. I in charge of the strategic project, the big M&A project, and then find some opportunity to do big investment. We also have some opportunity to talk to China Merchants Group to talk about how to run business in Djibouti for the telecom business. So, but China telecom business is very special because it's a strongly regulated business. In most of the country, they cannot allow foreign investor to invest this area, especially from China, because it's a little bit sensitive, especially during this this period. So if there any, so I think it's not too much experience can share this industry, but I think we talk about. Well, I know why the CityU find these two countries together to discuss, because in these two countries we all, especially China merchant groups, we know run the industry park. I think the industry park is a very good solution for the foreign investor, especially for China investor to invest. Because for example, in Djibouti, we try our best to provide telecommunication services within this park. Because if many China investor or China company to invest and then do some factory in this park, they need some telecom services. So I think this is, for example, we can provide very good connection with China. Also, I think other this kind of a company, we think how to say, 抱团出海. It's a group. It's a group company, and then we can invest together in the in some of the country. So if this is a discussion session, I want to raise a question. So I don't know who want to discuss, because in now the political environment, I think from the Western country, maybe they have some different view, say to think about China or Chinese investor. So my question is how to build trust in very initial procedure, how to build the trust each other for China investor and then the local government or the local partner. I think maybe maybe Gao Rui or Alexander, could you please give some comment on this part?
Well, thanks to you.
Yeah.
Excellent question. I think you asked my question. Okay. Great. Alexander and Mr. Gao?
Yeah, can I say a few words?
Respond to this question? Yes.
Yeah, again, what I not finished to say, yeah, the colleagues already said about me. Now is the perfect time to invest. Yeah, and because of this, again, lack of trust with the Western countries. Yeah, I think now it's a perfect time to invest into the country like Belarus and so on, and establish this trust between investors. That's an easy thing, how to establish the trust. You just have to keep your promises as an investor. You can say, we will invest this, and we will do this and this, and then keep your promises. That's it. Again, now is the perfect time to invest. And again, for some people, the political situation is a very weak thing, but I think China can use it on a positive way and try to do start to do the expansion in the countries like Belarus. So now it's the right time.
Alexander, maybe I did not hear well. So how to foster trust from your perspective?
Just to keep the promises. Keep the promises. Yes, if you come to the country, if you, let's say, promise something, yeah, to invest, to do some things and so on. So you just need to keep the promises.
Okay, keep working, in other words, because it may take a while for things to come to fruition, right? So
yes,
when
you're absolutely right.
the outcome comes out, so my partner still does not trust me that much. So I have to simply have to endure it, right?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, good. Mr. Gao Ray?
Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Very good. From in the initial period is very for us as well. I won't say that maybe the difficult part in the whole project. We can see this question in several different. Firstly, like China merchants, our own business is a little bit different, let's say, from most of the outward investment BRI. We are not like the engineering companies, mining companies that like the period project itself is very long for our industries. Like for us, you normally like operate with a concession rights of 20. For the industrial park, namely, let's say, examples of Belarus and the land, that means that
Mr. Gao, the connection is very unstable. We cannot hear you well.
We need to change the network to China Telecom.
Yeah, it's very unstable. We so keenly want to catch each of the word you're saying. Still cannot. Do you mind? Okay, I think that this is very important question. So we really appreciate your answer. Do you mind to send us a note? Okay, anytime, so that we can share with the participants, please.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do anytime. Okay, maybe afterwards. Okay. By the way, you know, I was just maybe a bit of publicity, because actually after the workshop, we hope that this is only the beginning. So we are asking all our speakers to share your contact information, of course, your business one. Okay, we don't expect people to call your home, okay, disturb you, but you know, so we can circulate, of course, the participant as well, okay, so that we can have a platform. So please, okay, you may expect to receive more emails, okay, in the coming weeks. You know, so please, Mr. Gao, okay, please send us your reply. You can email Jeffrey and me, okay, anytime, preferably today, okay, before you go to bed. All right, so that we can share thereafter. Very good. Well, in fact, if I may, okay, I have a follow-up question for Alexander. Before you end the presentation a while ago, the slide you talk about is very interesting. You ended with the question that is invest or not in current conditions, right? So you know, I mean, a lot of risk, okay, a lot of risk, but then the long-term factors are pretty favorable, but they are in the long term. But then your question, if yes, that is if you're going to invest, and what is the best way with the current challenges? The current challenges are real as well. So what is the best way? You need to tell us your answer. You know, I think people would really appreciate. Yeah,
that's a good question. Again, I think that there is a challenge right now. So from the one side, it's some political things and tension between West and the East. As yeah, they are back with this tension, unfortunately. But again, from another side, this is a time of this is a competitive opportunity, especially for China, because you see Belarus, for example, got lack of Western investment right now, and China can just use this opportunity and invest. Again, I just remind that China got very good relationship with Belarus, with Russia, and this is a time to invest. And if you I just didn't finish, and I would like to say that the best, let's say, investment project we have to start. This is a logistic things. Yeah, especially in this difficult situation after COVID with logistic, with containers and other things. So there are few ready-made projects we've got and ready to share with colleagues and investors, which will help significantly increase flow of the containers from China to Europe through the territory of Russia and Belarus. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, there are a few questions from the participants in earlier sessions. I think I'd like to direct to the speakers. A few of the questions actually asking about for the Chinese managed industrial parks, okay, those major one, including in Belarus and also in Djibouti. Well, of course, CMG, okay, is a major player there. But the question is actually about how about internationalization in those parks, right? So are these parks catering mostly for Chinese enterprises, Chinese investors? Then how do these Chinese management parks attract international investors? Okay, so what is the strategy, or what is the baseline right now? So, Mr. Gao?
Hello? Can you hear me now? Hello?
It's very good.
Clear? Thank you. Okay, so if I may, like, from the first question, this one, the new one. Hello?
The question is, you know, yeah. For instance, in Greenstone and also in Djibouti, the new port, right? And then this is because it's managed by CMG. So the question is, do you have many non-China resident companies in these parks or new port facilities? And do you have any major difficulties in attracting these non-China investors, and what is your strategy?
Yes, of course. So actually, the data shows that for these two industrial parks, most of them are not Chinese. For in Belarus, I cannot give you the exact number, but no more than half. And in Djibouti, of the 180 enterprises, client companies, only 30 of them are Chinese companies. Actually, the Djibouti encourage us to put more Chinese factor. Why don't you attract more Chinese companies into our industry zone? That's what they are talking to us all the time. I think these industrial zones, actually, firstly, it serve as free trade zone or logistic parks or high tech. Serve for region, and then the Chinese investors, because they are from the very first place an international industrial zones or free trade zones. So it will always attract everyone. We have, I think, no problem with that. But of course, say political issues like the sanctions or some other issues make people think now maybe Europeans think it's not a good time for Belarus, or sometimes Djibouti has also political conflict, maybe sometimes, but that's not a very common case from our experience.
Can I add something to this? I think one more thing, just to attract more participants there. Again, we already talked about sanctions and the western part, but from the east, Russia and CIS countries. And for example, I know that Russia is a bit jealous about this cooperation with Belarus, and they would like to participate. I know I've been talking with many of them. They would like to participate in this park. Yeah, I think we need to make a bit more advertising of this park in Russia and in CIS countries. They don't know about these possibilities and don't know that they are, let's say, highly invited to that place. We need to work in this direction within the.
Yeah, thank you very much. I also got a private chat questions, which is actually from one of our students. So I'm from the Department of Asian and International International Studies, and one of our students actually asked, after hearing to all the sections, he got the feeling that projects in Belarus probably need some talents from Hong Kong in terms of the IT sector or more commercial sector. So these questions, maybe I can direct it to Luis. Can you suggest students from political science or social sciences, would their talents be able to tap into the projects in Belarus?
Yeah, definitely. We are talking about international investment and trade. So it involves a lot of international relations and a lot of understanding of different cultures. So with international studies as a background, definitely students and talents in this perspective would add to the value chain. And just to add to all the previous speakers sharing, we should not ignore the potential opportunities coming from the other side of the ballgame. And actually, many Belarusian companies, startups and scale-ups, they're looking for opportunities in Asia and also in the Greater China region. And this is something that Hong Kong companies, be they finance company or marketing or business consulting companies, can have a role to play. And at the same time, with Djibouti positioning itself as the new Dubai in Eastern Africa, we're sure that many Hong Kong capital company or the investors would be able to find some niche position to play in the equation. So I encourage all interested Hong Kong companies, students, and scholars to pay more attention to the international supply chain recalibration, especially under the current pandemic situation. We are talking about logistic bottlenecks, which Djibouti and Belarus would have definitely some role to play. Okay, be it sea transportation or rail transportation between China, between Asia to the rest of the world. So these would all together add up to a winning formula in the post-pandemic future.
Maybe I would like to ask Alexandra, because just now you have mentioned that M&A in Belarus is not common. And so is it, I think Jerry has mentioned about seeking partnership in local countries. So I would like to know whether there's, is it common that investor would like to see local partners to have a joint venture?
So can I answer already? Yeah. So I told that M&A, it's not, I told about M&A income with the Belt and Road program. So of course there are a lot of M&As in Belarus, but what is not common, the M&As connected to the Belt and Road. And of course, if you got the investor, we can find the right partner in Belarus. We can find, and there are a list of companies. There are several good consulting company inside Belarus and so on, which can help foreign partner or foreign investor to find partner in Belarus. This is possible, and they've got enough infrastructure for this.
So working with local partners, is it preferable? Is it a recommendable practice, a way to do investment in Belarus?
I can say as an M&A advisors, yeah, as a company which are doing a lot of strategies how to enter to other markets all around Europe and so on. My let's say common answer is it's usually better to find local partner in every country. For example, we are now helping for American company to come to China. Yep, that's for sure. We need the partner, yeah, in China to come to the new market. Same in Belarus, same in other places. Of course, it's better to find the local partner which will support you inside the country, which knows the local requirements, which has a good connection with government and other regulators and other things. Yeah. So this is common thing all around the world. Better to come to country when you got a local partner.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thanks. Well, I think now the time is almost coming to an end. I think we have a wonderful discussion. Thank you for all the speakers and discussants and good questions from our participants. I think all of you have noted that we have close to 200 participants today. So which is a very high turnout of our registered participants, which is I think is around 250 registered. So we have a very high turnout. Okay, thank you. Thank you.